We are going to start with breaking news and the investigation into the killing of conservative activist and Turning Point USA co-founder Charlie Kirk. FBI officials just released these never-before-seen images of the person of interest in the case. And these pictures were posted on social media. They're now asking for the public's help to identify the person they believe is connected. And this comes after a press conference where officials expressed confidence in surveillance footage uncovered from the event. Kirk, a close Trump ally, was shot yesterday at Utah Valley University. It happened during one of his Prove Me Wrong debates. That is an event where he invites students at college campuses across the country to challenge his political and cultural views. Kirk was just 31 years old. The details we know so far, here they are. Video showed Kirk speaking to nearly 3,000 people at the central courtyard that's pictured here. A single shot fired shortly after 12 p.m. local time. Now, according to the university, that shot is believed to have been fired from that building on the right side of this graphic on your screen. Now, we've got team coverage on all of this. In moments, we'll go to Utah and CBS News reporter Andres Gutierrez. But first, we want to get to CBS News senior coordinating producer for the Crime and Public Safety Unit, Anna Schecter. Anna, thank you once again for joining us today and leading us through all of the information we're getting. With this latest development, what can you tell us about where authorities are at this point in their investigation?
Sure, Mugo. They have gone through hours and hours of surveillance footage and have pinpointed several good quality images of the man that they believe is the shooter. They have put out these photos and asked the public for help in both identifying this individual and locating the person. Now, earlier today, we learned from federal sources that the shooter fled on foot and discarded the weapon, the rifle, that was used in the assassination in nearby woods. It was wrapped in a towel, and they gave details about the gun, the type of gun, which very high-powered, had the ability to shoot that accurate shot from 200 meters away. So that's where they are. They have not given us any indication about how far this individual might have fled. So this appears to remain a very wide perimeter, if you will, for investigators. We don't know if the individual was able to get access to a vehicle to flee. Although if they haven't found him at this point, if he was on foot, he might have been able to gain access to a vehicle and get out of town. We have not received any images of a vehicle. If it was a car with a license plate readers are a very effective tool that police use to find people. We haven't had any information about that, but that's where we stand right now at this hour.
You know what, Anna, you mentioned the weapon that police say they found. Is there any way they can connect after the shooter just based on who may have purchased that weapon?
Well, they found this particular rifle difficult to trace. We have not had any information come out. Usually it takes the ATF about a day to process a weapon like this, but we have not gotten any information about when this was purchased, if there was a legal transfer that could help us identify a suspect. So at this time, it appears that the gun has not given us a clue to the identity of the suspect. However, it has been transferred to a crime lab looking for fingerprints. If those fingerprints are found, that will be very helpful to investigators. All of that is underway. I should also add that investigators found a forearm print and a palm print. The palm print might be more helpful if it's a fingerprint, of course. It's potentially the most helpful if this individual had been booked before, but if they'd never been booked before, a fingerprint actually doesn't give us much. We had a lot of these same conversations, you and me, about Luigi Mangioni's Manhunt last December.
And so, Anna, if you are on this investigation team, what exactly are you looking for that you hope will lead you to the suspect?
Well, right now I'd be pulling in every surveillance video, if I didn't have it already, nearby businesses, speed cameras on roads, highways, casing the wooded area, having multiple investigative agents, possibly search dogs, and heat sensor drones actually looking for an individual in the wooded area where the weapon was found. But again, as I said earlier, leaning into the technology and leaning into surveillance footage, that painstaking work, throw a lot of resources at it, a lot of people reviewing every frame of footage in the aftermath of the shooting.
Yeah. Anna Schecter, as always, thank you so much for your insight. Appreciate it. So let's go live now to Utah and CBS News reporter Andres Gutierrez. Andres, thank you again for joining us. I know things out there are developing very quickly. Are you feeling anything on the ground when it comes to authorities and in terms of just how close they are right now to finding the shooter?
Well, let's give you a sense of the lay of the land as we speak. We're now nearing almost 24 hours since this tragedy unfolded and sheer pandemonium broke out on this campus. The shooting itself happened just beyond that building, the Fugel Gateway Center, that has been now the nerve center of this particular investigation. You can see that mobile command post, that's beyond that white truck there in the shot there, the one that has the mast. That is the mobile command unit where essentially the basis of operations are for the FBI and the plethora of other agencies helping them in trying to find the suspect. It showed up here last night around 8 o'clock, and then the building itself has been operational throughout the night. I showed up here around 4 this morning to begin reporting on the story, and you could actually access the inside of the building. And inside, they have one room where it's literally labeled witness room, and you have a group of investigators, delving into what they have gathered thus far. They have since obviously roped it off. They did so here within the last hour. At around 7 a.m., you had the first wave of crime scene techs with the FBI's evidence response team that showed up here. Most of them, again, have been working throughout the night, but some of them obviously needed to rest up, and they are now freshly rested and well rested, and now on the ground. Besides, working out of this operation, they've also have been canvassing that neighborhood where the suspect fled to. It's nearby. They've canvassed that area, looking for homeowners to hand over any home surveillance footage that may have good images of this individual. Again, they initially during the news conference, they said that they were not going to release any images of the suspect unless they needed the public's help. And well, now they do. Yep. Now that photo has been circulating out there at 9 a.m. So 2 hours after the first wave of new officers showed up here, they had a briefing. You saw just a slew of law enforcement of all kinds walking into the auditorium of this facility. And then after that, they decided to rope it off and push the media back. And the campus itself is closed here until Monday to give investigators some room to work with. But things are kind of beginning to get back to normal out here. Obviously, yesterday we could even get to where this roundabout is. Traffic now just going on by. But again, they have pushed back the perimeter as more of these law enforcement vehicles have shown up here since, again, the mobile command post since 8 o'clock last night, but those two others showing up this morning.
Yeah, and Andres, you just mentioned campus is closed, so students are not out there right now. But you also talked about police officers going door to door, trying to see if maybe residents have those Ring cameras, anything that can lead them to the shooter. So I have to ask, have you had a chance to talk to people who live near that area, knowing that the shooter is possibly still out there, maybe even hiding out there?
Yeah, the other thing here to point out, Muga, is that this campus is right next to Interstate 15. It's a huge thoroughfare. It could go up to Salt Lake City and all the way south down to Las Vegas. And so the hope is that they can catch this guy before he has crossed state lines. Yeah. And so that's the prerogative right now for the objective for these law enforcement officers to do so. They have canvassed that neighborhood, but again, people, you could surmise are trying to keep their head on a swivel this morning as they're going on about their daily life, just to make sure that, if they see anything suspicious, to pick up the phone and call law enforcement.
All right, CBS News reporter Andres Gutierrez, thank you so much for your reporting. I appreciate it.